Hello again, everyone, and welcome to this episode of One-on-One. I'm Martin Falls, and today I'm going to have a lot of fun because I remember our guest when I was a young boy, and as we made our way up in the St. Francis and Vanderbilt, then we realized how good a musician he was, a great drummer, but just a great friend. He knows a lot of people. We kind of run in the same circles, but he has a broad circle. When we come back from the break, who are we talking about? You'll find out.
One-on-One is brought to you by the Law Office of Waits and Downer.
And welcome back to One-on-One. I'm Martin Falls, and as promised, our guest, well-rounded, great drummer, knows a lot of people, and had an interesting career and still does. He's still proving himself every day in the world. I'm talking about Mark Duthu. And Mark, good to have you here.
Good to be with you, Martin. Good morning.
I was trying to think back the earliest recollection that I would have had of you. And I think I honed in on it. And I know you were very tight with the DuPonts and the Ellenders. And of course, you were involved in the Haydel family. But my earliest recollection would be, I think, at Vanderbilt in the 8th grade when we'd have these, I don't know what they called them, but we'd go in the gym and we'd have these music fest or whatever they were. I don't know exactly. You probably know the name.
Well, I think they were pep rallies. But they usually also, we also did mass in the gym.
Right.
And we would play for mass many times. And sometimes the ending of the mass would turn into a pep rally. So, yeah, I remember those quite well.
And maybe I had a love for music back then. Of course, we've been on the stage together musically, but back then I was not interested in music. I was interested in sports.
Right.
But you would be killing it on that drum set. And that I remember that so vividly. I remember you being on the far end of the gym, playing at us. That's how vividly I remember you playing. And you were wearing those drums out. And I remember at an early age just recognizing that you were pretty talented when it came to drums. Take me way back. Before we even get to the drums, bring me back to the earliest years you can remember. And where were you?
Well, I grew up here in Houma actually on Central Avenue. That was my first neighborhood. And I actually have a picture of me at 3 years old with a drum around my neck. And I guess I really always had a love for playing drums. I really started, I guess, maybe 6 or 7 years old. I told my mom I wanted to take drum lessons. And of course, she was not into that completely. She thought maybe I needed to play piano. So she decided that if I took piano lessons, I could also take drum lessons. So I did that in Baton Rouge at that time, and I just loved playing the drums. When it got to elementary school, I got in the elementary school band. I guess that was maybe the 5th grade. And then junior high is really when it exploded for me. I got involved with a larger junior high school in Baton Rouge. Had a big band, also had a jazz ensemble. We called it stage band back then. And I was the drummer for that. So that really, playing the drums and playing in a jazz setting was something I really loved. Fast forward to Vanderbilt, came in the 8th grade when we moved back to Houma in 1968, 69. And Mr. Vauclin and Mr. King decided to put a jazz band together when I got there. So from the 8th grade, I started playing the drums at Vanderbilt. Mr. King really kept us very focused, had a keen interest in jazz himself, great trombone player. You know, the rest was history. We'd play for basketball games, you know, the jazz ensemble. I remember bringing the drum set out on the football field for a halftime show once or twice. So we always did that.
You know, you bring up Mr. King, Mr. Vauclin. I remember my sister, Myrna, was in the band.
Right.
And she always talked about Mr. Vauclin, but Mr. Billy King was my 5th grade music director at St. Francis. Mama made me join the band, play the trumpet. Why the trumpet? My brother Mike had a trumpet.
There you
and
go.
he passed it down. So I'm in there, and all I would hear from Mr. King was, "Falls, quit puffing your cheeks." So finally, he came up to me and goes, "You really don't want to do this, do you?" I said, "I want to be a pro quarterback."
No.
He goes, "Well, go be a pro quarterback because you're wasting my time." And he did it in Billy King style.
Oh,
you know?
absolutely.
And little did I know, music would reunite a lot of us. So music, us jocks in high school, we didn't get the music thing. Now I get it.
Oh, sure.
Now I know the work that went in it,
Sure.
and what y'all did and everything. But I remember, guys, tell me if I'm right or wrong, but Henry Perry and
Yeah,
all those guys,
that's right.
the stage band, when you said that, that's
right.
the words I was looking. The stage band was what just electrified the gym.
One of the things we did, Martin, Mr. King would take us around to all the Catholic schools in the area. I can remember playing at St. Francis, St. Gregory. I can remember Rick DuPont sitting on the ground in front of the drum set, Jules Ellender, all the young kids. And what we were trying to do is promote, playing in the band to the feeder schools to Vanderbilt. And it worked. We started building up a bigger and bigger band. In fact, we would go over to E.D. White, our high school rival, and played over there a couple of times. So it was always a lot of fun.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
You said your mama wanted you to play piano.
Mm-hmm.
Did she play music? Who
She
inspired
did.
you?
Oh, my mother was a great piano player. Had a beautiful organ till the day she died, a big, huge Lowry organ. She was always playing music in the house. My dad always said that he was a musician. He couldn't play anything, but he could play the radio, and he always enjoyed doing that. And of course, he was in the Air Force and grew up with the big band era with, Glenn Miller and Benny Goodman,
Right.
and Stan Kenton and all those guys. So I, learned the love of big band music through my dad.
When did it sort of hit you that you were pretty good at this? I know people would come up to you, especially guys like us at Vanderbilt, and go, "You were an upperclassman." And we always admired the upperclassmen. But at what point did you realize you were pretty good at this?
Well, I never considered myself pretty good because I know a lot of great drummers. I guess one thing that struck me when I graduated Vanderbilt, I went to USL, U of L now in Lafayette, and I decided to just put the drum set aside and focus on an education. I was in the library one day, Martin, and I saw a flyer on the bulletin board and said that the USL band was having auditions for their jazz ensemble. So I decided, well, heck, I'm going to go ahead and try out. Even though I'm, pursuing a degree in marketing, I can still play music. So I got in there and auditioned against several other drummers, and lo and behold, I got the gig. I can remember going back to the dorm and calling my mom on the payphone at the end of the hall to ask her if they could bring my set of drums up so I could, start playing with the jazz ensemble. And she immediately started crying. She said, I didn't send you to college to become a drummer. I wanted you to be a business person. And I said, well, I can do both. So I did that for a year, and then I quit and focused on my education. But
She was crying because you didn't play the piano.
that's right. And I'm crying today because I couldn't play the piano. I wish I could. I still love the piano. I have one in my home, but it plays itself now, so it's much easier.
You've always been a personable guy. You never meet strangers. I've been around you long enough to watch that you converse pretty good with people. Did that come later, or was that always a gift?
I think it was. I think my dad was like that. My dad had the Sherwin-Williams paint store on Lafayette Street when I was a kid, and I would work in there when I could, and I would always see what he would do conversing with people, whether it was in English or French. A lot of people would speak French, and he would speak French right back to them. So I saw that, And then when I got into college, I did take some speech courses, and there was I remember my teacher. Her name was Mrs. Marcantel, and she taught us speech, and I really enjoyed it. I think she really taught me the art of speech back then in college.
You know, I see so many kids today that tell me they take speech and they dread it, and they're so nervous, and they go, "Mr. Morton, did you take speech?" I said, "I'm a journalism major. I had to take plenty of speech class." And I said, the first one I took, I was mortified. But the more I took, it became fun to have that skill. And you, and what you did for a living later, which we'll talk about, you had to be able to speak.
Sure. And I did dread that first speech course, but then after that, I really enjoyed it. Made an A in that first course. So I guess I did pretty well.
Yeah, early years, you know, we talk about Rick DuPont and Jules Ellen, and whenever I talk to those guys and your name comes up, they light up. So there had to be some kind of bond or some kind of community spirit or neighborhood spirit that y'all latched on to.
Oh, Martin, it was. But when we moved back to Houma in 1969, my dad bought a house right across the street from Allen Ellender. It's on the corner. It's number 1 Church Street, right on the corner of East Park and Church Street.
Right.
So I was across the street from the Ellenders, which was great fun because they had 13 kids, like an instant neighborhood just walking across the street. But yeah, Drew DuPont, who's passed away now, and Rick. Gosh, I could just go right down the street. Andre Sinak, Mark Shaw, Bradley Rome, the Abears, Jules Aber.
Yeah.
We had a wonderful neighborhood. And we all shared a lot of fun together at Maple Street Park, and it was great growing up in that area. A lot of friends, and we ran the downtown neighborhood, Main Street, like it was part of our neighborhood too.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
That's a diverse group that you just mentioned. And, you know, I always hear these Dr. Ellender stories. I guess with all those kids, he had to be a little strict, didn't he?
He was, but, Dr. Allen was one of those that I consider a real mentor for me because I grew to really respect Dr. Allen. And he taught me a lot of things, taught me how to weed the yard, for sure, his yard. Because if you were over there and you were sitting idle, he would put you to work. But again, we learned to respect him, and he meant a lot to all of us in the neighborhood. We did fear him, though, from time to time.
Another recollection I have of you, and probably 50% of Houma had to go through the Haydell house.
Oh, sure.
At one point, Dr. Jerry and Miss Jean. But of course, at the time, you were dating one of the Haydell girls, and they had so many family members that we met a lot of guys who traversed through the house of the Haydell house. And the stories that we have over the years really became a bond with a lot of people. But when we're walking in that house, and I'm in the 8th grade, 7th, 8th grade, and I'm best of friends with Mike Haydell, but we're seeing you older guys dating the older girls. That was pretty amazing to us at the time. So y'all was setting tones not only in the band, but by dating the girls.
Well, I dated Carol Haydell way back in those days, as you recall. And again, the Haydell family was a lot like the Ellender family, 9 kids. The Ellenders had 13 kids. So you had an instant neighborhood when you went over there too. Plus all of you guys hanging around with Mike and Carl, and we got to know all you guys, because that's really when y'all started having a love of music. I remember Mike getting his Fender Mustang, a red Fender Mustang guitar with a little, I think it was a Bronco amp, a Fender Bronco amp.
I think it
was. For
was.
Christmas.
Yeah.
And you guys were starting I guess what, the little band with Greg Raffanina.
Well, they started banding. I was playing sports, but I did sound in the early days.
Oh, yes.
But then Barry Fazio, the guru of sound, he started taking over. But I still didn't want no part of the band. I wanted to be an athlete. But it was funny because years later, Carl would be playing the piano and I'd be in there. We'd sing and play, and we thought the house was empty. And Miss Jean and Dr. Jerry were listening from the intercom system.
Yeah.
So they're listening to our whole concert that we're putting on. One thing about that house, as big as it was, there were no secrets in that house.
Well, that is so true. Well, I couldn't get through the house. I could go to the playroom and the den, and that's about it. So
you couldn't go upstairs?
Miss Jean, everything else was off limits. Yeah, I couldn't go upstairs. So I was confined to certain parts of the house. But in that den was a big grand piano.
Yeah.
And Dr. Jerry could play
he could.
quite well. And Carl is a wonderful piano player.
Yeah.
To this day, Carl and I play at St. Francis at 5:30 Mass on Sundays. So.
The Haydell Chorale Dr. Jerry had started at St. Francis.
Yeah.
The big choir.
That's right.
Before we move on from the Haydell house and we talk about your favorite things, we still are connected today by Dreamweaver.
Yes.
And it's so funny. Every time Dreamweaver plays on somebody's car or whatever, I get a picture and there comes across like Mark Duthu, Dreamweaver, Carl Haydell, Dreamweaver, Mike Haydell, Dreamweaver, Larry, Pat, go down the line, Dreamweaver. And for the longest time, Heidi just did not know
That's
what
right.
Dreamweaver was. And I remember me, you, Tony Hazelton, and Rod were eating at Dominique's one day. I won't tell the full story for air, but
I wouldn't.
let's just say that I told Rod the Dreamweaver story. Of course, he was connected in the Haydell family too. And he went, "You serious?" I went, "Yeah." But isn't that just a fun part?
It really is. In fact, it still comes on and I'm going to text you. When I see that Dreamweaver come up, I will pull over on the side of the road, take a picture of my dashboard, my radio, and send it to you and just say Dreamweaver. It brings up so many great memories.
That's good stuff.
I know, it really is.
And even if I'm asked about it in the presence of Heidi, I'll turn red. It's a good story.
Me too.
I'll tell people in private. Okay?
That's right.
Nothing bad. It's
a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Before Dr. Jerry passed away, he calls me in. He gave me that reel-to-reel. You remember that reel-to-reel?
TIAC reel-to-reel?
Yeah.
A3340 to be exact.
Yeah. I have that in my possession. And, that was big in the day. If you remember, we'd go, what was the restaurant? The Ground Patty.
Yeah.
Remember you go eat at the Ground Patty and they had the big reel-to-reel? Was that a TIAC too? I can't remember.
It was a TIAC.
Yeah.
And they had phase linear amplifiers and Klipsch Heresy speakers.
Yes.
I remember just exactly what they had in the wall and the speakers. Actually, in the Ground Patty, those Heresies are still hanging up on the wall. Kind of a testament to the quality of those speakers.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm. This one-on-one program has been brought to you by the law offices of Waits and Downer.